Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Madok, this is not to say that we in the NDC are going to be complacent about the 2024 election. Not at all. Make no mistake about it. We are not going to be complacent at all. Even though we are going into the election with the weakest opponent we have ever had since 1992. We are not going to be complacent because this election is an election like none other. This election is not a mere election. The upcoming 2024 election is not a mere election. It's a battle for the soul of Ghana. It's a battle to rescue our country from the clutches of the nation-wrecking Bawumia government. A battle to rescue our country from the clutches of the insensitive, inept, corrupt, and nepotistic Bawumia government. We cannot afford to falter. We cannot afford to fail. We cannot afford to let Ghanaians and future generations down. And that is why we are going to run the most intense, the most vigorous campaign we have ever run as a political party to win 2024 and win it resoundingly, so that the forces against the state will not be second time or third time lucky in stealing the mandate of the people. And I am confident, you see, I have no doubt in my mind that John Dramani Mahama, the nation builder, will emerge victorious, and Dr. Bawumia, having been rejected by nearly 40% of leaders in his own political party, would this time around be rejected by an overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian electorate. And Doc, I say so for three main reasons. You see, contrary to the things that Richard was talking about, you know, we need somebody who has the capacity to embrace all people. Who told you that that is what the Ghanaian electorate is interested in? And if it's about inclusivity and embracing all people, what does Dr. Bawumia have? What has he done to show that he has that capacity or that competence or that virtue? So these are red herrings. The key factors that the Ghanaian electorate, you can do your research, will be considering going into the 2024 election. It's not where somebody comes from. So this issue of 2024 being a battle of the North, they should stop disturbing our ears. It's not about where you come from. It's not about your religion. It's about whether the electorate can trust you. Number one, trust. Your integrity as a candidate. Your credibility as a person. Can people take your word? Can people believe in you? That is the most important thing on the minds of Ghanaian voters today. Whether you check voter sentiments on social media, on the ground, through any poll, you will see that trust is the most important issue. And I have no doubt in my mind that Dr. Bawumia cannot pass that test of trust. Doc, because this is a man who has proven time and again to be a pathological liar. A man who cannot simply speak the truth. We are talking about a man who told the people of Cape Coast in the run-up to the 2020 elections that, hey, people of Cape Coast, I have good news for you. We are building for you, not we will build, we are building for you a brand new harbor. Look, you see, when I say he's a pathological liar, I'm not talking about manifesto promises that he has not been able to fulfill. I'm talking about things he has said as truth, which were in fact false. And that is what makes him a liar. When you say you are building a harbor, when at the time you made that statement, not a block had been laid anywhere in Cape Coast for any harbor. And even after the election, when your boss, the president, went to the central region and he was asked, how far with the harbor you said you were building for? He said, I don't remember making any such promise. Then they reminded him, but your vice president told us during your manifesto launch in Cape Coast that you were building as a harbor. He said, I don't know anything about it. That is the man we are talking about. A man, you see, you trust Bawumia at your own peril. If you are a person who can lie like that, then you are not even fit to be class captain. It was a wise man called Tracy Bryan who said that the relationship that holds, the glue that holds all relationships together, including the relationship between the leader and the led, is trust. And trust is based on integrity. So if you cannot be trusted, you have no business getting near leadership. This is the same man, Doc, who told us that the Bawumia government has been paying $1 billion annually for excess capacity charges. And that as of 2022, last year, they had paid 17 billion cedis. When the finance minister was summoned before parliament and asked about this, that this is what the vice president has said, is it true or false? Ken Oforiatta said it was false. He couldn't justify the figures. He said, as at that time, all we had spent, the total of it was $937 million, less than $1 billion on excess capacity. Less than $1 billion. Yet, Bawumia stood on a public platform addressing the entire nation and said, we've been paying $1 billion per annum. Such a chronic liar cannot be made to sit on the hallowed seat of President of Ghana. Never. This is the same man, Doc, who told Ghanaians that he has introduced a motor insurance database system for Ghana. And that this database system is the first of its kind in Africa. And in fact, better than the motor insurance database system of the United Kingdom. He was fact-checked, and it turned out to be a lie. Because 10 years before we got our motor insurance database system, countries like South Africa and Nigeria already had a motor insurance database system. It's there, you can go and check. He said he has introduced a Ghana Post GPS application, Dr. Bawumia, which he said that GPS application is the best in the world and more advanced than the GPS applications of UK and US. When that was a complete lie. You see, I can go on and on and on and tell you, not promises, oh, lies that this man has peddled. Doc, he said again, a few years ago, that he has introduced mobile money interoperability that allows us to send money from one network to another network or Momo and move money from our bank accounts to our Momo wallets, and that this was the first time any African country would do that. At the time he was making that statement, Tanzania was already implementing one. And they got that system, the Momo interoperability system, 10 years before ours. Kenya got years before ours. Yet Bawumia peddled this lie. And even with the promises, you see, sometimes when you talk about the fact that he's a liar, they say, oh, you're talking about manifesto promises. These are not manifesto promises. They say, oh, with manifesto promises, no political party has been able to fulfill 100% of their manifesto promises. So are all politicians liars? No. There are some of the things Dr. Bawumia said, using his background as an economist, you know, to buttress him and to hoodwink voters into voting for the MPP, which were not even in the manifesto of the MPP. For example, Dr. Bawumia stood on a platform and said, in 18 months of an MPP government, no community in Ghana will have a water or a toilet problem. That was not the manifesto promise. But that was a promise Bawumia made. No honest politician will make such a promise. Because he should know that such a promise cannot be met given our economic situation as a country. But Bawumia said it. Bawumia stood on a platform and said, as a country, we don't have to borrow for roads. All we need to do is to tow our roads, and we'll be able to raise sufficient money to do all the roads in Ghana. No honest leader, no honest person, no person with a modicum of integrity will make such a promise. But Bawumia made that promise and managed to hoodwink some people in voting for him. The same Bawumia said, apart from he saying that we don't need to borrow for roads, he said that Ghana, where we have gotten to, we don't need asphalt roads again. We need concrete roads. And so the Bawumia government will henceforth, that was sometime in 2020, construct concrete roads in Ghana. Show me 1 meter, 1 centimeter, or 1 millimeter of road anywhere that this government has constructed in concrete. The one at Tema was done by a private company. They can't point to that. That is the man we are talking about. Lies upon lies. Oh, vote for us. We will move Ghana from taxation to production. All these things were things that Bawumia said, which were not necessarily manifesto promises. But if he was honest, he would have known that given our economic context as a country, you cannot develop Ghana without taxes. Yet he said, we will move Ghana from taxation to production. Oh, we have arrested the dollar and given the keys to the IGP when he knew that was false. And so on and so forth. He's a flip-flopper who will say in one vein that if the fundamentals of the economy are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Then he comes to office, the exchange rate depreciates like never before. At the time, the dollar was trading around 15 Ghana cedis. He says, oh yes, the exchange rate is depreciating, but it is not because the fundamentals are weak. A clear flip-flopper, a pathological liar you cannot trust. So he cannot pass this test. The second test, Doc, is the test of competence and track record. Because currently, Ghana is in a total mess. People are suffering. The hardship, Doc, is real. And people are yearning for a leader who has the competence and the track record to be able to turn around the economy and bring us out of this mess. People want jobs. People want economic development. People want to see infrastructure. They want their road fixed. So they need somebody who has done it before and somebody who has that capacity. Now, Doc, tell me, how can Richard and his communication team convince anybody in Ghana that Dr. Bawumia has the competence and the track record to turn this economy around? After all the things he said in opposition, how he was lyrical about the economy, how he was projected as the economic messiah and wasted Ghana needed. And after being made vice president, and for that matter, the chairman of the economic management team for 7 years, what is his scorecard? In 2017, Doc, we gave Dr. Bawumia our economy to manage. At the time, he said inflation was too high. He used to hold lectures comparing the prices of basic commodities at Makola market. You remember? Malata market. Forgive me, Malata market. You know, and he used to calculate his own inflation just to undermine inflation figures being put up by the Ghana Statistical Service at the time. Today, what is the inflation rate? John Mahama gave him an economy with an inflation rate of 15.4%. He said it was too high and that John Mahama was incompetent. Today, as at last year, inflation 54%. As we speak, 38%. So if 15.4% was a mark of incompetence, what about 38% or 54%? And because of this high inflation, which has come about as a result of the illegal and excessive printing of money by the Bank of Ghana to finance their recklessness, the World Bank says 850,000 Ghanaians have been pushed down the poverty line. This is the doing of Dr. Bawumia. And this is the man they are projecting as competent. The economy, the same economy, Doc. Check our debts.
Are you wrapping up for me?
Oh, I'll be wrapping up. Yes. I'll be wrapping up. Check the debts. This is the man who said the money is here. He's worked at Bank of Ghana before. We don't have to borrow. The money is here. At the time he was talking, Ghana's total public debt was less than 120 billion. He's come to office. He's been chairman of the economic management team. His government is the most resourced government in the history of Ghana. They've had revenue from 3 oil fields, when John Mahama's government had revenue from 1 oil field. In total, they've had 830 billion as total revenue, when the Mahama NDC government only had 248 billion. Yet, they have so borrowed that our public debt has increased from 120 billion to 600 billion. Debt to GDP, 56% under John Mahama. Now, close to 100% under Bawumia. Debt service and credit, you can't talk about it. Our economy, which was rated as B- by credit rating agencies, under President Mahama, B-, and President Mahama was berated and called names by Bawumia. Today, that economy is rated junk, baller economy. Unemployment rate, it was Bawumia who said, vote for us when we come, the economy will grow and grow and grow, and there will be jobs and jobs and jobs. Today, what is the unemployment rate? From 8.4% in 2016, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Unemployment rate in Ghana today is hovering around 14%. So, if you look at the economy we bequeathed to him, we handed over to him, and entrusted him to manage for us, he has failed woefully. His record is the most abysmal in the history of this country. He's had so much resources, yet very little to show in terms of economic performance. What again is there to market this person? And lastly, Doc, I'll do this in just 2 minutes. Lastly, because this is a very important test that we must subject all the presidential candidates to. The test of incorruptibility. Which of the candidates will be presented with in this upcoming 2024 election is incorruptible? has the capacity to fight corruption. It cannot be Bawumia. Doc, do you know something? Since Ghana became Ghana, do you know the biggest corruption scandal we have suffered? I say it's the biggest because it is a corruption scandal that has occasioned the biggest financial loss to Ghana. That corruption scandal is what is known as the PDS scandal. According to the Institute of Economic Affairs, the PDS scandal cost this nation financial loss of $2 billion. $2 billion. Anybody watching me can Google it. And who masterminded this corruption scandal? Alhaji Bawumia. He was the one who, according to the FTI report on the PDS scandal, on 19 February 2019, chaired a meeting at the Jubilee House and decided to change a condition precedent into a condition subsequent, the requirement of a bank guarantee, and watered it down into an insurance guarantee, and allowed a phony company of fraudsters to come and defraud this country. We lost $2 billion as a result of that. And as I speak, the electricity bills we pay to that fraudulent company, fraudulent in quotes, at least according to the then Minister for Energy, Peter Mewu, the company, over $1.5 billion, has refused to, pay that money back to the states. As I talk to you now, Richard can prove me wrong. Do you know that the office administrator of Dr. Bawumia is being prosecuted by the special prosecutor? A man called Kekose. Do you know that? Doc, do you know that? Do you know why he's being prosecuted? He's being prosecuted because he used Dr. Bawumia's letterhead, office administrator, wrote a letter to the Commissioner General of Customs for 10,000 bags of rice belonging to a businessman to be released to Bawumia for Ramadan donations. Ramadan donations. And when he was caught pants down, the Vice President office issued a statement that, even though he's the administrator in our office, and wrote that letter on our letterhead, Bawumia didn't know anything about it. Yet, the man is a Christian, and the rice was supposed to be used for Ramadan donations. And you know the scandalous thing about this scandal, the most scandalous thing, is that the gentleman Kekose, currently being prosecuted by the special prosecutor for his attempt to steal 10,000 bags of rice for Bawumia, ostensibly for Ramadan donations, is still working with Bawumia in his office as the administrator. He's still working there. He's not even had the courage to sack him.
Right.
Whether it is any way you look at it, this man clearly is not fit to be president. And I have no doubt in my mind, like I said, that people will look at his competence and his track record and juxtapose that with the other candidates. They will look at his trustworthiness. They will look at the various corruption scandals he's been involved in, appearance fee, how a Minister of State was caught on tape soliciting for bribes, $250,000 for Bawumia. And the minister didn't say, give me the money to go and give to Bawumia, so that you can say that the minister was going to chop the money. He said, I'm taking you to Bawumia. When we go, give him $250,000. Because he knows that the man is in the habit of taking appearance fees.
All right.
Doc, Ghanaians will not make a mistake again. Okay. They know that what we need is change. Kennedy Japan and other leading members of the NPP, Kwame Pienim, Nyawuta Makro, they've all said it. We need change. Ghanaians are united in that demand for change. And this is not an ordinary change we need. We need to reset the country, reset state institutions, reset the entire country, the moral fiber of our country, which they have corrupted. And the only person who can do that is a visionary, honest, experienced leader we can trust, a leader who is tried and tested, a leader who takes responsibility for problems and fixes those problems. That leader cannot be Bawumia. That leader is none other than the visionary nation builder, John Mahama, who has promised us a 24-hour economy with 3 shifts to optimize job creation.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.